Okay, so hello everyone. This is our Tuesday afternoon therapeutic yoga class, and today we're going to be focusing on the knees, which is a very highly requested topic. Okay, so we're going to start with anatomy again. So here are the bones of the knee joint. So you can see there are a few bones here. You have your tibia and your fibula from the bottom. This is the front view of the knee joint. Your patella in the middle and your femur from the top. And then this picture is the back of the knee. And it's a pretty complex joint, and it does a lot for us. And there's also some complex problems that can happen with it. And then I just want to show you a quick picture of the muscles of the knee. You can see the quadriceps from the top and the anterior shin muscles in the front, and then let's see, you've got your calf muscles in the back. So lots of muscles from the top and the bottom cross the knee joint that go all the way down to the ankle and all the way up to the hips. So again, it's just showing that everything is connected. And one of the main principles of working with the knees is that you have to address the hips and the ankles. Above and below often have more impact on the knees than the knees itself. So when I consider the knees, I'm looking at alignment, contribution from above and below the hips and ankles. What kind of range of motion do you have in your hip, spine, and pelvis? Core strength is really important. If you're weak here, you'll put more force into your knees. I look at your footwear, so good shoes are really important for your knees. And also, your knees can hold certain emotional qualities in them. And then also just global inflammation. What are you eating? Inflammation in general can accumulate in your knees, or any joint really. And then what is the energy flow in your knees? So if you're here and you have any sort of knee pain, definitely respect that. Respect your limits. Your pain will tell you when you need to modify. So don't be afraid to use props during this practice. And speaking of props, I would recommend having, if you have a chair in your house, like even a kitchen chair or something, go ahead and pull that in, and either a blanket or a bolster. Yeah, definitely a bolster. Blanket will do too. And a block would be wonderful, and a strap. I tend to be kind of prop heavy, but of course if you don't have them, we can modify. Let me grab my strap. Okay, so let's get started. Find a comfortable seat on your mat. I like to put some height underneath my pelvis to start. Take a couple blankets, or you can take a bolster. There we go. Come to sit. And start with your legs stretched out. And just jump your legs up and down just to wake them up. Okay. So we're going to start in Sukhasana, or cross-legged pose. So we're going to take care of the knees here by grasping on the inside of your knee and bring one leg in, and then grasp on the inside of the other knee and bring the other leg in to sit in cross-legged pose. And we'll take a moment here to come to our mats and come into our bodies. We'll start with double breath with tension. So in twice through the nose, tense everything up, and out twice through the mouth, let everything go. Ready? Hold everything in to the center and out. Let it all go. 2 more times. Gaze is to your third eye between your eyebrows. And out. And gently open your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. Okay, so we're going to take a blanket or a bolster. You can take it out from underneath your seat and come to sit on your mat. And take a blanket and roll it up, or you can have a bolster too. Roll it up, place it on your mat, and then just let your knees, place it right on the backs of your knees, like that. Okay, so we're just going to bring awareness to your knees very gently here at first. So the first thing I'd like you to do is point your toes up to the ceiling and then press the backs of your knees into the mat and lift your heels. And relax. Good. And again, become aware of the muscles that you are using in your legs as you gently straighten your knees and lift your heels a few inches off the floor. Good. Okay, now do it and make sure that your butt muscles are relaxed. So see if you can isolate using the tops of your thighs here, the quads. You might even feel some inner and outer engagement of your legs. The hard part is relaxing your butt. Good. Okay, and just let your legs relax. And notice how when you relax where your legs like to rest. Do they like to rest out? Do they like to rest in? Just noticing. Okay, now take your right leg and we'll do a little rotation here. So rotate your leg in and out. So the movement should be coming from your hip. You can imagine the ball of your femur in the hip socket here, rotating. And again, your butt muscles should be relaxed. And you want to feel the inner thigh and maybe some rotators on the outer hip engaging. Okay, and then the left side. Rotate in and out. We're just being nice to our knees this afternoon and our hips. It can just feel really good to do this slow motion through your hip joint. Good. Okay. And now remove the blanket and just have your legs out straight. And you might need to put that blanket back underneath your hips. It gives you a little extra height if your back is rounded. But now that your legs are flat on the floor, we're going to do the same thing. So keep your toes pointed up and then straighten your knees. But this time keep the balls of your heel bones down on the floor. We don't want to hyperextend your knees. So hyperextension would be lifting your heels up. But can you open up the backs of your knees by engaging those quads? Think about zipping up the kneecap. Really tighten these quads here. You can even tap your quads and say, wake up quads, especially right above the knee. As you open the backs of your knee and straighten your knees. Notice I'm not saying lock your knees, because that alludes to hyperextension. It's more about opening your knees, but keeping those heel bones down so you have a nice straight alignment here. Good. And see if you can feel those kneecaps. So let your kneecaps rest. And you should be able to sort of move your kneecap around when it's in the resting position. See if you can do that. It goes up and down, side to side, just gentle. This is a delicate area. And then when you engage those quads, your kneecap moves up. And it should feel tight, like you can't move it now. So that is a nice stable knee. And then soft knee. Good. Okay. So now we've woken up the knees. We're going to continue to wake up the hips a bit. So lay on your back with your knees bent up, your feet on the floor. And then bring your feet out to the width of the mat. I'm going to do some windshield wipers here. So rock your knees to the right. And then keep your right knee down as your left knee comes up and over into a wide-footed butterfly. When you can't go anymore, the right knee follows as both knees go to the left. So repeat, right knee up and over, and then the left follows. So we're learning how to isolate the hip rotation. And notice if you really want to move that left leg as you're moving the right up and over. Let it be, let it be, let it be, and then move the left. And keep your butt relaxed. We're just working some of those deeper hip rotator muscles that stabilize your hip joint. They're part of your pelvic floor. Good. And then when you find yourself in butterfly here, hold the sides of your thighs and help your knees back up towards the ceiling. And we're going to come to all fours, so roll into your side, press up, you'll find yourself in all fours position. And if you have any knee pain here, it's okay to put a blanket underneath your knees to give you a little more padding. So we're going to do some cat-cow to warm up the spine. We're going to start from the pelvis, from the tailbone. So lift your tailbone and then let the whole spine follow as you lift your chest. And then start by tucking your tailbone and then vertebrae by vertebrae round your spine. And inhale, arching. And exhale, round. Inhale. Notice the movement in your pelvis. And exhale to slightly tuck your tailbone and round. And one more. And round. Good. Now stay in quadruped. We're going to start to activate the hamstring muscles. We tend to be overactive in our quads and weak in our hamstrings, and that can lead to knee problems. So we're just going to gently wake up the origin of the hamstring here at the sit bone by grounding down into your left leg and then lift your right leg up, but keep your knee bent. Kind of come to like a 90 degree here. So your foot, the bottom of your foot is facing the ceiling. And then come back down. And you can tuck your toes under to stabilize if you like, and then lift your left leg up until your thigh is in line with your body and your foot is up to the ceiling. And down. And right. And pay attention to your left hip here. Don't collapse into the hip. Keep your pelvis neutral. You might feel the outside of your left hip really active here. That's good. Those are your deep hip rotator muscles stabilizing you. And down and left. Again, really activate the outside of your right hip to keep your pelvis neutral. And we'll do it once more on each side. We're going to do some pulsing. So lift your right hip and then pulse. 2, 3, 4. We're going to go to 10. 5, 6, 7, 8. Engage your core. 10. And release. And the other side. Keep your pelvis in neutral. Engage the outside of your right hip and pulse. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really feel the top of your hamstring. And release. Good. Well, let's take it back into wide knees, child's pose. Bring your hips back, reach your arms forward, and rest. Think about rounding your tailbone towards your heels. When you do that, your lower abdomen will scoop back towards your spine. And gently walk back up. And then come to lay on your stomach. Just warm up the back a little bit here. So we're moving cobra. Lengthen your legs, so really straighten your legs back, and make sure and feel your pinky toes on the floor. So go ahead and inhale, lift, and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. And exhale. And let's just find ourselves in a nice child's pose. So bring your knees together this time and reach your arms out. Again, if this causes you any pain in your knees, one strategy is to place something between your thighs and your calves. Something like a bolster or a blanket. And do your child's pose like this. And then walk yourself back up. We're going to start getting into the core a little bit here. So come to all fours. And this pose is to sort of practice using the muscles that it takes to stand up. So go ahead and lift your knees slightly up off the ground. And then release. And lift. And release. One more time. Lift and feel your lower core engaging. And release. Good. Okay, and then we're going to lift again and walk your feet back into a plank. Now, you can always drop your knees to the floor and have your thighs in line with your torso. Or keep holding your plank. Feel the energy up through your arms and out through your legs. And then push back into your downward facing dog. So in your downward dog, lift your heels up so that you're on the balls of your feet, and then draw your chest toward your thighs. Good. And then lower your heels back down to the floor. And practice that knee principle that I was describing before, where you lift your kneecaps up to open the backs of your knees. So you're not jamming your knees back into hyperextension, but rather you're lifting those kneecaps up by engaging your quadriceps. Good. Okay, and then come back down to all fours. Okay, and then we're going to bring your right foot in between your hands and reach your left leg back. And just start to rock forward and back. Okay, and then switch. Bring your left foot forward and then rock back and forth. Back and forth. And then bring your left foot back and then go back into your downward facing dog. And then walk your feet forward into your standing forward fold and bring your feet wide, like the width of your mat, and let your head release. Maybe clasp your elbows and just rock side to side. And see if you can play with your kneecaps here. Lift your kneecaps, open up the backs of your knees, and release. And then lift again and hold. As you roll your weight forward a little bit more into your balls of your feet. hold that engagement in your quadriceps, engaging your knees. And then we're going to roll up to stand. Good. And then walk your feet to about hip width apart. Okay. So we're going to stand here in mountain pose or Tadasana. And just start with some weight shifts. So rock forward and back. Just very slowly and very gently. Just notice what happens in your knees when you do this. Go ahead and kind of contract as I rock back and forward to keep my balance. And then come back to center and then rock side to side. Again, noticing what's happening in your knees. And then find that place where you feel kind of in the center of your feet. Straight up and down. Drop your tailbone slightly. Feel that lower core engage naturally. And then here, lift your kneecaps. Same principle. These muscles here, you can see my knees are soft. Come to the camera. Knees are soft and knees are engaged. Knees are soft. Knees are engaged. Sometimes it helps to put your hands on your tops of your knees like this, and then you can see they really lift up against the pressure of your hands and release. Okay, that might be something you can work on, but if you've got it, then go ahead and engage those kneecaps, lifting up, and stand strong in your Tadasana. And think about lifting from the inner thighs as well. Lift from the inner thighs up towards your pubic bone, and then lift your arms up and over your head. Urdhva Hastasana in Tadasana. Good, and release. Now if you have a block nearby, go ahead and take your block and place it in between your thighs. Okay, I like to do it the shortest width, not the wide width. This, and you can do it like this, or the other way. Okay, so make sure it's like up and high, close to your pelvis. And then, again, lift the kneecaps and squeeze the block. So the block can give you more intelligence in your inner thighs to get that nice lift. So just feel that lift, like you're squeezing and lifting the block up, and then bring your arms up. Feel that nice lift, heel bones grounding down to the floor, toes spread, and lift the block. One more breath. And release. Good. Now you can remove your block, put it down, and we'll do some crescent moon series here. So we're going to move into the spine a little bit more. So feet together or hip width apart. Raise your arms up overhead and exhale to the right. And move a bit here. Inhale center, exhale left. And feel the zipping up of your legs here. Zip up your legs as you go to the right. Inhale center, exhale left. Inhale center, place your hands on your low back. Just lift your chest. And then exhale all the way down into Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. Again, just draw the weight into the fronts of your feet so your hips are right over your ankles, and then zip those kneecaps up. And engage your quads, finding the stability in your knee joints. Good, and then roll up. Okay, so now this is going to be where we use our chair. So go ahead and grab a chair. If you don't have a chair, You can do it without. We're going to do chair pose, or Utkatasana, which means fierce pose. I'm going to do it this way so you can see. So come to sit at the edge of your chair and bring your feet about hip width apart under your knees. And then walk your feet back until you feel like your heels want to lift up. And then just ground those heels into the floor. So it takes some work here to ground those heels into the floor. So that's about where your knees should be in relation to your ankles when you're in chair pose. And then walk your feet together so the inner edges of your feet are together and then your knees are pressing together. Okay, now bring your arms overhead and then lean forward. Lean forward and keep your chest lifting. And then just very, very small, lift your hips up off the chair and back down. So what I want you to feel is your hamstrings engage underneath, not just your quads on the top, but really feel those hamstrings engage underneath. I'll do that a few times. Lean forward and then really engage those hamstrings as you lift your butt off the chair. Down. And then one more time, we're going to lift all the way up. So just gently lift those hips up. Hold, hold, hold. Feel those hamstrings engaging. And then lift up to standing. And hands down, Tadasana. This is a very functional pose because we get up and down from chairs every day. And what tends to happen is we become too quad heavy, too quad reliant, and we forget how to engage those hamstrings. So here we're waking up your hamstrings. So we're going to go the opposite direction again. Hopefully you've kept your feet in the same place. Lift your arms up. Start to lean your body forward as you bend in your knees. And then you're reaching your hips back, and then just gently touch the hamstrings to the edge of the chair. Don't sit all the way down. Just touch, just tap, and stand back up again. I'll do that a few times. Exhale, leaning your body forward. Just tap your hamstrings on the chair and back up. And then one more time. Tap your hamstrings on the chair, hover, 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 and then release. Whew. So that's why this pose is called fierce pose, or Utkatasana. It's a powerful, powerful pose. So let's just try it one more time and notice if you tend to put more weight in one foot or the other foot. So we tend to shy away from weak areas in our body. So pretend like you have like you're listening from the bottoms of your feet. Like you have 1,000 ears on the bottoms of your feet. And we do this again. Listen with your feet. And if you feel like you're not putting weight into one foot, then bring it there and see if you can bring balance. So again, lean forward, arms up. Feel the bottom of your feet. Gently lift your hips up. Gently come to stand and feel the bottoms of your feet. And then we're going to work our way down. Feel the bottom of your feet. Bring equal weight into each foot. And tap and down. Good. So we could spend a lot of time on that. But basically, being in a human body, we can put your chairs away. There's a lot of asymmetries, that's normal. But we have the opportunity to bring action into those areas that might be weaker in order to bring balance to your body. Okay, let's do Warrior 2 while we're here. So come to your mat lengthwise, and we'll just walk your feet out to the side. Good. And then rotate your right foot out. So rotate it from the hip joint, okay? You can even take your hand and sort of paint it back. Good. Your left toes should be facing forward. And then gently bend into your right knee. We're just going to do a few bend and straightens. Good. What I want you to do is feel your right hamstrings kick on here as you come down and hold. So just notice, what do you feel here? Do you feel mostly your quad? If so, really tighten underneath your hamstrings and feel your inner thighs engage, like you're kind of zipping up the inner thighs towards the pelvis. And then maybe bring your arms out. Keep your knee over your ankle, not beyond. And then come back to center. Rotate your right foot in and your left foot out. Good. Okay, so same thing. We're going to just bend and straighten. And make sure you're tracking that knee right with the toes. Not in, not out, but just right in line. Most of us usually have to bring the knee out more. Really start to fire on that hamstring. And then come all the way down. Engage that hamstring. And zip up the inner thighs. And then bring your arms up. A warrior two. It's a lot of work in this pose. It takes a lot of strength in your pelvis and in your knees. Spread those feet. Good. And zip back up to center. Rotate around to the front. And then step your feet together. Tadasana. And take a nice breath here. Good. I'm going to move into Prasarita Padottanasana. So step your feet apart again, toes facing forward. And then we're going to forward fold. So bring your chest down, hands underneath. We keep the chest lifted here for a moment, spine neutral, and zip up those kneecaps. So if you feel any pressure or pain in your knees, just walk your feet closer together a little bit. And if not, you can widen them. And then let your spine round. So keep those kneecaps zipped up. You can place your hands in line with your feet. Just feel the opening of the backs of your knees, your inner knees, your outer knees. As you round your spine down, lift your tailbone up. Good. And then roll back up. Walk your feet together. And go down to the floor here. So moving chair pose. So you're going to inhale, arch your spine, exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale, inhale, and exhale. One more time. And exhale and roll all the way down gently with your knees onto your back. Okay. Grab your strap. Make sure your strap is nearby. Okay. I'm going to do Supta Padangustasana. Or hand to Bigfoot pose. So take your strap, or if you don't have your strap, just straighten your knee, foot up to the ceiling. You can hold behind your thigh, or you can take your strap over the arch of your foot and here again we're working on that same principle of engaging that quad and opening the backs of your knees. This one is really great for any kind of knee pain, but especially if you've got any inflammation or swelling in your knee, because now you've got gravity assisting any lymph fluid to just come out of your knee back up to your groin. We're really opening, making a lot of space in your knee here. Switch, bring your left foot up into the strap and bring your right foot down. And your right leg is active too. So your toes are pointing up into the ceiling and your right knee is straight. Left knee engaging. Just relax your butt, relax your pelvic floor. Just feel that nice opening. We're getting lots and lots of circulation and space into your knee. come to sitting. So roll to your side and come to sit. Do Upavishta Konasana here. So legs out in front, and then we're gonna hook underneath one knee, bring your leg out to the side, and then hook underneath the other knee and bring it out to the side. Good. And then you can place your hands behind you to lift your pelvis up and come forward. Lift it up and come forward until you feel like you're at a nice angle here. Okay, so again, we are going to engage the kneecaps here to straighten the knees. Point your toes back, and they should be straight up to the ceiling. Good, and you can either, if you're rounding your spine here, your work is to roll onto the fronts of your sit bones and lift your chest. But if you're here already, then you can start to walk forward. And just feel that nice stretch in your groin. So here we're really opening up through the inner line of your leg. So see if you can feel that space opening up in your inner knees by engaging those quadriceps, really opening up your adductors or your inner thigh muscles. Good, and then walk back up, and then hook underneath your knees again to gently bring your legs out in front. Paschimottanasana, similar pose here. Lift up and exhale forward, reaching your feet. Again, engaging your knees as much as you can. And breathe. And round over. Good, and then come back up. Okay, so here we've done a lot of work to open up the backs of the knees. So now we're going to work on bending the knees. So let's just gently hold the inner and outer knee, and just bring one knee up and hug it in, and then release, and then the other side. Bring it up, hold the top of your shin and hug it in. And one more time each side. Hug it, and then other side. And hug it in. Okay, so now we're going to move into a squat position. So take whatever height you might need underneath your hips. So that could be a chair, a block, a bolster. So I'm going to take a block and just sit on that height. We can start here. Again, a chair can suffice if you have a lot of pain in your knees, but we're going to practice just bringing your legs into sort of a squat position. So this is really good for your knees over time and your back, but it's really important that we maintain this knee range of motion throughout our lives. We tend to lose it, or we get afraid of this knee range of motion. So again, you might be in a chair and you might just be here, but just practice bringing those shins in. And once you're in a comfortable position in your squat, we're going to take the inner, your hand on the inside of your knee and just push away. I'm going to stretch that inner groin area and get a nice twist. And then the other side. Twist and push away. And one more time each side. And other side. Okay, and maybe you can come to a lower height, or you could come off your block if you'd like to into a nice malasana or squat. I would challenge you to get into some variation of this pose for 1 minute every day. And you will start to notice a lot of good changes in your body. If you don't, then you know you're pushing yourself too hard. Just enjoy this nice squat. Another variation here is to put a blanket roll or some height underneath your heels. It also makes it a little bit easier. Okay, and just roll down onto your butt. We're going to do some self-care for your knees now. I'll come a little closer here. So let's start with some, just some nice lymph drainage. So I'm going to do some skin brushing. So just start on the front of your knee and brush back. So nothing too hard here. This is actually just a skin stretch. The superficial lymph vessels lay right under your skin. So just stretching the skin with this brushing, with this dry brushing, can help move any swelling or lymph through your knee. And then hook underneath your knee, bring your fingers underneath your knee. You have a lot of lymph nodes under your knee, and just do a little, like push in towards your kneecap and back towards your pelvis, in and back. There's the little circles behind your knee. Any kind of knee inflammation or knee pain, this can be really helpful. Good, and let's do a little on the other side of the lymph techniques. So just brush back. You can be doing this in your chair, even laying down, if sitting is not comfortable for you. So brushing from the front to the back, just nice gentle brushes, sweeps. And then hook behind and press in and back, like you're trying to move the fluid from the lymph nodes behind your knee towards your groin. That is the direction of lymph flow here. Okay, and then we're going to do a little fascial release. So let's come back to your right knee. Clasp your fingers and just hold kind of the top of your shin here. So there's this interosseous membrane between your tibia and fibula, which is what we're going to be working here. So just gently pull your tibia back towards you, very gently, and then it's like you're trying to pull your hands apart slightly. And hold. So you shouldn't feel any, tension in your shoulders or neck, just a nice hold here. And then we'll work our way down the shin a little bit. I'm going to come back up. It feels the best for me. I'm just kind of pulling my tibia back and kind of pulling my hands apart. And we'll just get into the muscle here a little. So just a massage like the your shin muscle, just kind of on the lateral side, on the outer side. Just kind of massage all around your knee, and then straighten your knee and get into that quad. And then just end with some brushes back. Okay, and then other side. So clasp your hands, place your hands on your top shin, and then pull back and sort of spread your hands apart. And hold. Good, and then massage that muscle on the front of your shin. Okay, and then all around your knee, your fingertips in there, and then your quad, kind of like you're kneading dough, and then just some sweeps, your shin up. Okay, I'm just going to get into your feet a little bit because your feet are very important to your knees as well. So let's take your right foot. I'm going to take your left fist and just kind of rub the arch of your foot. Good, and then place your fingers between, see if you can place your fingers between every toe. Kind of like those things that you use to paint your toenails, or like those toe spreaders. And then if you can, bring your shin to your knee. If not, you can just hold your foot. And we're going to do circles with your ankle. One direction and the other. So just really creating space for those toes. Excellent. And then we'll do the other foot. So again, just getting into the arch of your foot. I like to use my knuckles. Just bring some heat into the arch of your foot. And then put your fingers between each toe. I need to use both hands to get that. Good. And then rotate your ankle. Okay, excellent. Okay, so we're going to move into a nice restorative pose here. I'm going to show you how to get it into with props, but you don't necessarily need props. So I'm going to take a bolster. If you have a bolster, a blanket, and a strap, have those handy. I'm going to recline butterfly. So place your bolster on the length of your mat and bring your sacrum right at your bolster. And then if you have a blanket, it's just nice to have it for your head and neck there at the back. And then I'm going to take my strap, put it around the back of my sacrum, and then over the fronts of my thighs, and then underneath my feet, and then hook it. That'll give me a nice connection from my sacrum to my ankles. And then pull the strap so that it pulls your ankles in towards your hips. Again, if this is too crazy complicated, you can do it without these props. You can just lay on your back on the floor. You can use without the strap. The strap gives some a different feedback to your body. And then tuck your tailbone under and just lay back. Just have your, the blanket should come just right to the tops of your shoulders. Walk your shoulder blades under and have your chest open. If you feel any pain in your hips here, put some height underneath your knees, or like underneath your thighs here. You don't want to feel any strain or pain in your hips. It should feel good. Or you can even just put some fists or your hands underneath the tops of your thighs. And then rest here. And breathe. I'm just going to read you a quote while you rest here in Supta Baddha Konasana. This quote is from a book called Your Body Speaks Your Mind by Deb Shapiro. She says, "Knees are like shock absorbers, taking the strain between the weight of the body above and the ups and downs of the terrain below. Knees are major weight carriers, so if that weight may not be physical, psycho-emotional weight can be just as heavy. Water in the knee indicates a holding of emotional energy, particularly a resistance to surrender, or there may be too much emotion to cope with and the weight is being carried in the knees. An inflamed knee indicates that something or someone is making you feel irritated or angry, and you will not give in. A dislocated knee shows resistance to giving way. The knee can no longer take the pressure, so it collapses, and you are unable to maintain your standing. To dislocate is to lose. What ground have you lost, and what do you need to do to regain it? How can you reclaim your balance and dignity?" A lot of times our bodies are just our manifestation of our minds. So there's a lot that we can learn about from our bodies. So if you are really comfortable in this pose, you can stay here for your Shavasana, or you can gently find your way to laying flat on your back. So I like to just release my strap, remove that, roll off, and move your props. And just find yourself gently on your back for your nice shavasana. Feel yourself grounding into the floor, releasing everything. Letting your legs roll out and letting your knees relax. Feel your hips relax, feel your pelvic floor relax. Feel your quads and hamstrings relax. Your feet. And allow your jaw and your eyes to relax. And to come out, we're going to gently bend one knee and then the other. Just hug your knees into your chest with your left hand, left arm. Bring your right arm overhead, roll to your right side. And then gently press back up. And find yourself in a nice, comfortable seated position. We'll end with an Om together. Deep inhale. Bring your hands, your palms together. The light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for bearing with some technical difficulties today. If you'd like to donate to the Santosha School and all its teachers, I'll place the link in the description. And if you guys have any questions regarding the knees, then just let me know in the comments here or in the or you can message me. Thanks. So just notice how your knees feel for the rest of the day and just give them a little extra love and attention for the rest of the day. And just see what you notice. See if you tend to stand on one side more than the other. Thanks, guys. See if how you get up and down from a chair or how you get up and down from the floor. Challenge yourself to getting up and down from the floor every day. You never want to lose that. And I think that's it. Oh, challenge yourself to doing that deep squat every day. It's really good to maintain that kind of range of motion of your knees. But, don't do it if it causes you pain. Do one of the modifications of it. Do what feels good. Okay, everyone. Well, I will see you next week. I think that next Tuesday is going to be yoga for your hips. I've had a few suggestions or requests for focusing more on the hips. So we did a little on the hips today because they're so related to the knees, but we'll get really into the hips next week. Okay, thanks everyone. See you next week.